Gentlemen, the truth you've been ignoring is staring you in the face. She could be hiding something right now, and the ways she covers it up are subtle, silent, and invisible to most men. Today, I'm revealing 7 ways to spot a cheating woman without her ever knowing, so you can see the cracks in her story before it's too late. If you want the foolproof checklist the mainstream won't tell you, hit like, subscribe, and comment the city you're watching from. Pay attention. These signs are hiding in plain sight. Way 1. Microschedule mapping. Have you ever noticed that her schedule, once predictable, now seems to shift in small, almost imperceptible ways? Way number 1. Microschedule mapping is a subtle method to uncover patterns she doesn't realize she's leaving behind. By carefully observing her daily routines without confrontation, you can identify gaps, repeated time blocks, or unusual sequences that hint at secret meetings. This technique doesn't involve snooping or invading privacy. It's about paying attention to behavior patterns that naturally expose themselves over time. In practice, start by noting small, repeatable time windows. Perhaps every Thursday evening, she claims to be at work for 90 minutes, but traffic patterns, receipts, or social cues suggest otherwise. Maybe she suddenly leaves for the gym at exactly 6:05 p.m., a slot that wasn't part of her previous routine. Over days or weeks, these repeated deviations can form a clear, undeniable pattern. Another key is the phrasing she uses. Rehearsed expressions like, just a quick thing, or it'll only take a moment, may appear frequently, especially when combined with vague timing or minimal detail. These verbal cues often accompany minor schedule adjustments, signaling a deliberate effort to obscure the truth. Tracking her microschedule also allows you to spot inconsistencies that may seem insignificant in isolation, but reveal a bigger picture when pieced together. Note when she overlaps errands, social activities, or workouts with times you know she's supposedly occupied elsewhere. These small discrepancies, when observed over time, can highlight where her real attention and energy are directed. And here's the next step. While microschedules reveal where she might be physically, her digital behavior leaves an invisible footprint that's just as telling. The next method, notification footprint, will show you exactly how her phone and devices betray secrets she thinks you'll never notice. Once you see these subtle patterns, her story will start to unravel in ways she cannot control. Way 2. Notification footprint. You may not realize it, but her phone and devices are leaving subtle clues about her activities. Way 2. Notification footprint is all about observing how she interacts with technology without ever touching her devices. Guilty behavior often manifests in unconscious patterns, and these micro-behaviors are far more revealing than any dramatic confrontation could be. In everyday life, pay attention to how she handles notifications. Does she suddenly keep her phone face down whenever you enter the room? Does she mute alerts or check messages with her hand shielding the screen? These small actions indicate that she's managing who sees what and when. Even seemingly innocent gestures, like stepping into another room to answer a call or grabbing earbuds at odd times, can be significant if they appear alongside other behavioral changes. Timing is another crucial clue. Take note of when her phone activity spikes. Late-night messages, unexplained notifications, or frequent activity during times she claims to be busy can reveal patterns. Even subtle details, like typing quickly with one hand covering the screen, show she's guarding something she doesn't want you to see. Look for consistency, or lack thereof. If these micro-behaviors occur repeatedly, they form a footprint of her secret interactions. She may believe these gestures are invisible to you, but your observation will uncover the pattern. Small, unconscious actions often tell the bigger story her words try to hide. This method allows you to gather evidence silently, without ever raising suspicion or creating confrontation. And here's the next layer. While her devices leave traces, her social interactions and the language she uses with friends also leak information. The next method, the social echo test, will show you how casual phrases and repeated mentions expose connections she thought were invisible. Once you notice how words and devices combine, the picture of what she's hiding becomes impossible to ignore. Way 3. The social echo test. Sometimes the most telling signs aren't hidden in her actions. They slip out through the words she can't completely control. Way 3. The social echo test is about listening closely to her conversations and the language that surrounds her social interactions. Secret relationships create their own private language, and even when she thinks she's careful, these echoes of hidden connections often leak into public conversation. In practice, this means paying attention to repeated phrases, names, or locations that pop up across different contexts. For instance, she might casually mention the Blue Cafe in a story about work, and then drop the same reference during a supposedly unrelated girls' night. Over time, these repeated mentions create a pattern, a breadcrumb trail that points to people or places she is keeping from you. Friends and acquaintances can also inadvertently reveal secrets. A friend may casually reference someone you've never met, or mention a private joke you weren't part of. Even minor comments, like someone saying, "Did you see what he sent you?" or laughing at something vague, can indicate hidden interactions. These echoes aren't direct confessions, they're small slips, subtle evidence that something is going on beneath the surface. Another way to test this is to casually ask follow-up questions in conversation, without pressuring her. Note whether she hesitates, changes the subject, or provides vague explanations. Those micro-reactions, combined with repeated references elsewhere, reveal patterns that she cannot fully control or conceal. The genius of the social echo test is that it doesn't require confrontation. By observing and noting these subtle cues, you quietly assemble a picture of her hidden network, one phrase at a time. But words alone aren't the full story. While social echoes reveal who she's connected to, the next method, expense blips, shows where she's physically interacting and how small, overlooked transactions leave undeniable traces. Once you start noticing these financial hints, the reality of her secret activities becomes impossible to ignore. Way 4, expense blips. Sometimes the smallest transactions tell the biggest stories. Way 4, expense blips is about noticing recurring, subtle charges that don't match her stated activities. Secret meetings or hidden outings often leave a financial footprint, and while she may assume you won't notice, patterns emerge over time if you pay attention. This method doesn't require prying or checking her accounts aggressively. It's about observing anomalies in timing, location, and frequency. In practice, these blips are often minor but telling. Tiny hotel or co-working charges appearing at unusual hours can indicate a private meeting. Small rideshare pickups at odd addresses or recurring services like food delivery or app-based locker rentals may line up with days she claims to be busy with errands or work. Even repeated online subscriptions, when cross-referenced with her daily schedule, can reveal activity that doesn't match the story she tells. Timing is critical. Look for patterns, the same days of the week, similar hours, or repeated locations that don't align with her stated routine. These details, though small in isolation, accumulate into a clear signal when viewed over weeks or months. The behavior surrounding these transactions is also significant. Does she suddenly become protective of receipts, bank notifications, or digital records? Are small purchases accompanied by vague explanations or a nervous tone? These micro-behaviors, combined with the financial blips themselves, create a subtle but reliable warning system. The beauty of this approach is that it's silent. You're not confronting her or accusing her of anything. You're simply noting irregularities that reveal patterns she may have overlooked. But the story doesn't end here. Financial footprints are only one side of the coin. The next method, attention allocation, reveals how she distributes her emotional and mental energy and who receives her focus. Once you notice these cues, you'll begin to understand not just what she's doing, but who she's prioritizing over you, and that truth is far more revealing than any receipt. Way 5. Attention allocation. What she chooses to focus on reveals more than words ever could. Way 5. Attention allocation is about noticing where her mental and emotional energy is directed, and who or what consistently gets priority over you. A faithful partner divides attention naturally, without secrecy or sudden bursts of focus on anyone outside the relationship. When she's cheating, these small signals become predictable, measurable, and revealing, if you know what to watch for. In everyday life, observe how she interacts with different contacts. Does she reply quickly and warmly to one person while giving you delayed, short, or functional responses? Pay attention to the timing of her replies. Late at night, early morning, or during moments when she could be with you. These micro-actions often reveal where her interest and focus are truly directed. Physical and digital cues are equally important. Does she save screenshots, forward messages, or keep small tokens tucked away that you've never noticed? Even minor gestures, quick glances at a specific contact, subtle smiles at a notification, or a small laugh over a text can indicate that someone else is occupying her attention and emotional energy. Another key factor is how she prioritizes her time. Notice if she suddenly devotes more attention to particular hobbies, friends, or conversations that seem trivial, yet consistently take precedence over shared activities or meaningful moments with you. These repeated behaviors reveal a shift in her emotional priorities that she cannot fully hide, even if she believes you haven't noticed. The genius of this method is that it's silent. You don't need to confront her or demand explanations. Just by observing these patterns over time, you build a clear picture of her real focus. But attention alone isn't the full story. While this shows you where her energy is directed, the next method, story consistency audit, reveals how she fabricates narratives around her activities. Once you start noticing contradictions in her accounts, the combination of attention patterns and inconsistent stories will expose the hidden reality she's been trying to protect. Way 6, story consistency audit words are often where the truth slips out. Way the 6, story consistency audit is about casually monitoring the details she shares over time to spot contradictions, subtle shifts, and fabricated elements. Lies require upkeep, and even the most careful deception begins to crumble under the weight of repeated storytelling. By observing without confrontation, you can quietly detect patterns she doesn't realize she's leaving behind. In practice, pay attention to the minor details she mentions about her day. Ask seemingly innocuous questions at different times. Who did you run into at lunch last Tuesday? Or, what route did you take to the store yesterday? Notice if names, times, or locations shift between retellings. A consistent narrative is normal. Repeated deviations indicate that some elements may be constructed to hide something. Even small, casual references can be telling. Perhaps she mentions a co-worker's name in one story, then later claims she was alone, or she provides inconsistent accounts of errands, meetings, or social events. These discrepancies, though they may seem trivial, form a web of evidence over time. Behavioral cues amplify these inconsistencies. Watch for hesitation, eye movement, micro-frowns, or changes in tone when she recounts events. Overly detailed or unnecessarily elaborate stories often indicate that she's trying to make a fabricated narrative feel believable. Humor, charm, or deflection can also be used strategically to redirect your attention away from contradictions. The power of this method is subtlety. You're not interrogating, accusing, or confronting her. You're quietly comparing accounts over time. By cataloging inconsistencies, you begin to see a pattern of concealment emerge, revealing what she's truly hiding. And here's the final step. While inconsistencies expose the structure of her lies, the next method, reaction. Benchmarking shows how she responds to routine prompts and interactions, highlighting emotional shifts that reveal deception even when words seem controlled. Once you combine the inconsistencies with these reaction patterns, the picture of her hidden behavior becomes unmistakably clear. Way 7. Reaction benchmarking. Have you ever noticed how her reactions to everyday situations suddenly feel off? Way number 7. Reaction benchmarking is about observing her emotional baseline and measuring how she responds to routine prompts, neutral questions, and small relationship cues. The idea is simple. A person under stress or hiding something displays subtle, predictable defense patterns. By comparing current reactions to what you know is normal for her, you can detect inconsistencies that reveal deception without ever confronting her. In practice, start with neutral, everyday interactions. Ask for minor favors, like helping with groceries, fixing something around the house, or discussing weekend plans. Note whether her tone, energy, or body language differs from usual. A sudden sharpness, impatience, or delayed response can indicate an underlying stress she's not admitting. Conversely, exaggerated friendliness or overcompensation can also signal that she's trying to mask guilt or distraction. Next, pay attention to neutral topics. Mention coworkers, friends, or mundane events, and watch her reactions closely. Does she redirect the conversation, become unusually agreeable, or show subtle tension? These reactions often indicate that she's managing what information you perceive, consciously or unconsciously, to keep you from noticing patterns in her behavior. Small micro-behaviors are critical. Watch for fleeting changes, eye movement, slight shifts in posture, hand gestures, or a subtle pause before answering. While minor individually, these cues combined over time create a clear picture of where her focus and emotional energy truly lie. Another key is consistency. Benchmarking works because it compares past behavior to present responses. If she suddenly reacts differently to the same prompts or situations that previously elicited calm or straightforward responses, it's a warning that something has changed, often because her attention and priorities are elsewhere. See you in the next video.